Hi guys, Luton here, and we're back for the second round breakdown. This time we're defending on Golmud Rush. Now you can see that the attacking team, very much like the previous one when they were defending, are quite proactive, quite solid in their approach, and they've already gotten straight onto the AM comm here. Now, I've got a couple of guys on there, they're sorting that out, so I don't need to worry about A. We are trying to control the situation here with the MBTs. Numi is driving and I'm repping / gunning. So obviously at the start of this base, very much like with ours, they want to get the momentum, they want to push hard, they want to get in on this base as quickly as possible, and you can see that our tank was immediately overwhelmed straight away at the beginning, and that's part of their sort of attacking, process. They want to get up here, take down these vehicles as quickly as they can. But it also goes to show you how important it is to take out those vehicles as quick as you can, because if yours get neutralized and you're left facing vehicles, that suddenly puts you in a really horrific position. It's very, very important to try and neutralize them as quick as you can. And something else that's quite bad right here is we're sort of being pushed back straight away. We really want to get, that's why I'm trying to push up, we want to get onto this line right here, and even though this MBT is right here, I'm trying to sort of engage and deal with it. At the very least, even if you don't take out vehicles, you want to try and make them, you want to put them on the back foot. You want them to have to think, hey, maybe I shouldn't push up too aggressively. Helicopter coming in straight away as well. You forget actually that they have a scout heli on this, because we didn't see ours very much at all when we were, attacking. I think it's partly down to the fact that they were being so proactive in shooting things down. That's probably why we didn't really see it that whole round. Making sure to clear up any infantry as well as neutralizing and marking vehicles. I don't want to waste too much of my ammo on that scout helicopter, because whilst it is quite bad, we just got armed, but I'm wanting to get to Numi. B is armed, so there's no point me running across an infantry, trying to save this tank right here, because I think we stole this tank off of the enemy, so trying to give ourselves a little bit of extra firepower, trying to put some fire down on the scout helicopter there as well, trying to again dissuade it from getting in onto us right here, and trying to control the situation on A and B. The team have managed to defuse B again, so good job to the team right there. And this is quite a long round yet again, because it's one of those rounds where they kind of wear them down on the tickets, and then they often will make the kind of break for it. And that's actually a good thing to learn as well. Often, I've said so many times before, that the critical time in Rush, or indeed any game, is when you get low on the tickets. Often you can have, look at these guys sitting here behind the rocks as well. As you would, obviously. I mean, what else are you going to do? But the critical time tends to be the low ticket count. That's the dangerous time. The time when you feel like, hey, we've got this game in the bag. That's often the time when they'll break out and surprise you and throw everything they have at the base, because it's a kind of what have you got to lose situation. They have nothing left to lose. The game is almost over. They may as well throw everything at you. And so you need to be prepared for that. You need to be ready for the fact that that's going to come, because it will come, and it does come every single time. Just when you think it's all safe and there's nothing to worry about, that's when they'll come, straight balling in on you, and you've really, really got to, in that situation, sort of set up, be prepared to deal with those numbers. Oh, we got C4'd as well. God damn. Killed himself in the process, but again, that's a good thing. This is often what I've said before. I remember on canals, when you've got the ice cream sandwich down there, and that goddamn ice cream sandwich on canals used to wreck any helicopters or anything coming into that base, and often taking out the AA tank was the key to sort of taking that initial base. And it was very much the case that you'd have to sort of come across in a helicopter, power drop in, drop C4 on it, and then just immediately blow it, even if it was, a suicide, you kamikaze yourself, because you just had to get that damn thing down, and once it was down, then you could push in with everybody else. And again, that's sort of what that guy was doing right there. He was identifying the fact that the tank was a big problem for everybody, and he immediately wanted to get it down, so he just drops the C4, blows it, kills himself, and of course you always want to try and be able to get away if you can, but a lot of the time it's just not the case. Now overall, we're doing a pretty good job right here. We've got 2 bases still up, and there's only 20 tickets remaining, and this first base is a perfect example of a terrible Rush defense, which is everything seems to be going well. You've worn them down, you've got control of the situation, you feel like, hey, everything's going well, but maybe you get a little bit complacent. I was going here to try and repair, but he obviously doesn't want my repairs, so that's fine. Got a couple of guys pushing in here, but again, look at this, we're sort of See, they've brought everybody up to the line, and even though we're on 15, 16 tickets, I got picked off here, sniper, dodging down the end of the train right there. Again, I didn't anticipate that I'd have to worry about a sniper on the end of the train right there, because it felt like we had control of the situation. And hey, all of a sudden, things are looking a little bit dangerous. Only 14 tickets remaining. Still feels like we should get control. If you look at the minimap right now, everything seems to be locked down. I'm staying here at B because we've got enough guys at A. Feels like everything's going fine. Surely they're going to defend A. Surely we've got enough people over there. And I'm sort of pushing up here to try and put the pressure on, but I got picked off. And again, hindsight, perhaps I was trying to move forward there to put the pressure to try and, you know, lock them down, control them. Now again, got the defuse there, so good job. We've still got A and B, and there are only 11 tickets remaining here. So what can they do? What can they pull out right here? How's this going to go down? We've got enough people on the line. We've managed to defend to this point. I just got picked off again. I think they're down to 7 tickets now. But here's the thing. The MBT coming in, the full attack. They've only got to get it armed. They've got A armed. And look, that tank coming in, combined with the infantry assault, has wiped us out. 6 tickets remain. They've got 2 MBTs right on the objectives. We don't have enough infantry there. We're not going to be able to... I took the helicopter out right there with the MBT. I'm taking down the infantry. We're putting the pressure on. But they've got A armed. They've got B armed. There's 3 tickets on. And they take the base. And it's like... Jesus Christ. And that is the absolute prime example of what I'm talking about. Just when you feel like you have got everything under control, they come in and they steal it. 1 ticket remained, and they managed to take that base. It's astonishing, and that's, you know, it's one of the most frustrating things. You know, we really we should have taken that. We should have controlled that situation, but it's because we didn't anticipate that tidal wave attack at the end. That wave attack when they sent 2 MBTs and the infantry all simultaneously. We were not set up to be prepared for that. We were dealing with them coming in 3s and 4s, taking out one vehicle and then the next and the next. So we, like I said in the last video, you know, it's about you suddenly go from comfortably dealing with like 1s and 2s, you know, you take them out, bleed. All of a sudden, even though they've only 11 tickets left, you know, in some games when you go for a full attack rush with 11 tickets, that's not going to be enough. Some games when it's like that, you'll just wipe them all out and the game is over. But not in that situation. They somehow, I think with mainly the MBT, managed to come around, clear enough of us away that the rest of the guys could move forward safely, and then suddenly they take that base. And then you find yourself in a very different game. That first base that's gone down, you suddenly find that the team, if you have a situation like we just did right there, can kind of be in a bit of disarray, because you suddenly have to, as a defending team, reset your positions. You have to try and identify where are they coming from, how are they going there, are they going mainly vehicles, are they going mainly infantry? You have to reassess everything. And as I say, as an attacking team, that is the best time to attack. The best time to attack is quickly when they are not set up, and that's what they do to us. They throw the momentum in here and they push forward quickly. And that is the key really to rush, is keeping your enemy on the back foot. If you allow them to get into a strong defensive position where they've kind of got things locked down, they've got the lanes locked down, they've got their respawn situation well established, they've got the golden circle going on, which is my classic rule of rush, which is, you know, stay close enough to the MCOM that you can disarm it, but far enough away that you're able to cover a reasonable area. We managed to scare that tank off and push him back. But look, the infantry are here in on the base, and our team are just, we've got multiple people on there. We're probably going to get this diffused, but overall, look, they brought another MBT around the back right here, and they're surrounding the base, really sort of taking full control of us. And even though we've got a lot of people in on that base, that MCOM's not getting disarmed easily, and that's a kind of good example of, you know, how well these guys are aggressively pushing in on us. And look, it's not getting it's not happening. We're not diffusing it. There's bound to be a couple of guys right there that are locking that down. Snipers on the roofs, for Christ's sake, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And I think it's because that AMCOM is taking fire from the right hand side. We've got people on it, but it goes. They don't get the disarm in time. We lose it. And now we're back just on the B. And even though we've got plenty of people around here in the base, and I'm sort of trying to sort of stay safe and control the situation at the same time, because these guys are quite aggressive. This guy's tank head glitching. He's just keeping the turret just at the distance it needs to be on the top. And I was hoping for some reps right here, and we are getting it. But I'm taking multiple fire, I think not from just that tank. There's a load of infantry moving up here. Yeah, here we go. See, these infantry are dropping missiles down onto me as well. And that combined firepower is really dropping me hard. I don't like to kind of do the full reverse. As soon as I take 1 or 2 hits, I like to try and sit there, try and take them out, try and put the beat back on them. Because I always feel like I'm trying to do a bit of dodging right here. I do need the reps, but which we have got from my 2 guys. Now Fuse is on board. I just want to push this tank back. I don't want him to keep playing this little game right here, and I didn't care too much even if I died at this time. I just wanted to take the pressure off. I was trying to keep this tank away from the base, and this is a kind of, not what you see very often, it's kind of kamikaze run. I was trying to buy time there. Again, a lot of people would probably dissuade that kind of gameplay, but I was just like, I've got to push him off of the MCOM right now. I've got to keep him back, and that's what I was trying to do. And just firing a couple of shots was not going to help, because he was kind of head glitching on that position right there, so I was not going to be able to control the situation. Looking back on it, I would say it probably was not the best choice to make right there. It was almost throwing the tank away, and that could be seen as a very, very bad thing. But in the moment in the game, we were having such a brutal battle. I was just like, I've got to get this guy away from the base. I've got to get him away from the base. And just firing the odd shell was not going to make that happen. I had to chase him down and push him back and say, you know, get the fuck off of our base. And that's really what I was aiming to do. But I like to have a bit of fun with the game always, you know. I like to sort of throw some different tactics on board. I like to try and, you know, sort of... And the same guy, this guy over here on the right-hand side, is doing the same deal. And I think I actually go for the same tactic yet again. Tactic, it's not a tactic. Yeah, this guy. Because these tanks right now, what they're doing is they're sitting back, and I want to sort of push them off. I want to try and get them away from the base. And I push this guy right off the cliff. And he takes the hit, he takes me out. But again... it's a really bad position to allow those tanks to be set up around the base, because if they're sitting back and they're not putting, you know, they're not taking any fire, what they're going to do is surround that base and thrash you down into the ground. Now, again, it doesn't matter because we lost that base anyway, but I think the key really was that by myself I was not able to sort of necessarily deal with those guys because of the way they were playing, sort of sitting back, and they weren't really taking fire from anybody else. I guess I was kind of pissed off as well, which is not always the best thing, but I think I really wanted to just be like, get off our base, and just really, really push them back as hard as I could. Okay, so now we're on to the third base, and the third base, they look at this, the speed. The attacking team have done the 100% right thing here, which is moving fast. This third base, they've got to cover that empty open ground, and they've used the advantage of our respawn times. See how quickly they've moved up? And their tanks are still sitting back, which is actually not a bad thing for us. It means we can try and deal with the infantry and worry about the MBTs when they come in. But you can see here I'm trying to move in, I'm trying to get in onto the base, we're trying to go for the defuse, I'm trying to get onto it as furiously as I can. I'm trying to just hope that I get lucky and get in here, but no. Getting picked off by hype there. But this has become, again, a situation that you don't want to be in. You're suddenly in a situation where you're forced to make a crazy defuse, a crazy rush defuse situation. You've just got to get in on that base. And this exact MCOM base right here has become fury immediately. It's chaos right now. There's buildings exploding, there's vehicles coming in, there's infantry all over the place. And again, looking behind us right here, I was going for the rep, but he's moving too quickly. Now I am trying to sort of be measured. We're trying to hold the line. We've got 50 tickets to deal with yet, which is still plenty. This is a difficult one to attack on though, because as I say, you've got this kind of open ground to deal with. And we are being, you know, proactive in sort of moving away from the base. But again, look, they're moving up here with infantry and vehicles on both sides. And it's almost too much for us to manage right now. Too much for the team to control right now. And again, I can't see too much of how well the rest of the team are doing, but they seem to be doing a fairly reasonable job compared to, you know, some games that you would play. And we're out here on this guy, drop that tank down. So that tank is dealt with. I went for the reps, but it was way too late. I think they got taken out from behind, actually. If you look to the right-hand side on the map, there's like 4 infantry moving up. Now, again, I'm wanting to move back towards the base here because I was very mindful of this left-hand side here. Like right now, as we can see, these guys are moving up on the left-hand side. And again, you want to sort of switch that up when you're playing Rush. You know, if you are finding yourself locked down on one side for a long period of time, and we were having that constant tank contact as well as the infantry moving up on the other side, and I said, guys, we need to keep it in mind, we need to switch back to the left, because I say sometimes if you get locked down too much on one side, you suddenly find that you get distracted, you leave one side open to attack, and that's when you really find yourself in a kind of fail situation. So I wanted to pull it back there, but unfortunately, you know, this is often the case, is if you try to manage too much at once, and this is something that I'm always guilty of, I try to do too much at once in a game. As we pull back away there, we left A in a kind of open situation, and there was not enough people to kind of control that line. Also, I think the MBT coming back in has been a real factor. Chasing this tank down. Surely do we get a kill on this guy? I think I'm going to get wiped out yet again. Oh, no. No, bit of teamwork from me and the other guys there. Managed to actually wipe him out. Only 32 health remains though, and I've got no defenders to help me out, so I think that I'm going to get wiped out by this guy right here. Yep. I'm probably going to get S-rolled or something. Come on, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Badly need the reps. I can rep myself, but if I get safe. And we've lost that base. So moving there to remove and try and deal with that tank, we put ourselves in a weak position, and I'm going to get taken out again here, no doubt. There's no way I'm going to deal against this full armed tank when I've only got 4 health remaining, so we're going to get wiped out. But I'm not going to bail out of the tank. Not going to throw the tank away or allow anybody to cap it, although I think it's unlikely you get capped at 4. Okay, so now we're on to the 4th, second to last base. And this base is an interesting one because this one can really be a bit of a coin flip. It can really be a bit of a hit or a miss. Because this is one of those urban bases, and the urban bases where you kind of have more buildings around, you can really kind of hide yourself. You can really dodge in and around the buildings. And that can be a good or a bad thing because the attackers can hide amongst the buildings and respawn very quickly and get onto the MCOMs. But similarly, we have a lot more cover than we have had on the previous bases, which means it's more easy for us to defend in some ways. I wanted to open this route out because they're already all over the MCOM, but unfortunately they've wiped me out as there's multiple guys coming in right there. And again, they are set up all over this MCOM. Again, look at that momentum. They have destroyed the objective already. In seconds, they've already taken it out. And again, that's a really, really good, play from that team there, from the attacking team. They're playing really hard. They're really aggressive. They're moving straight to the base. But with this one MCOM left, are we going to be able to defend that as well? I'm getting the disarm right here. Do not want to get this base going down so quickly, and I get M320'd, that guy out there in that building. And I get the res, and the guys have diffused the situation, so that's good. Now often, when an enemy team has momentum, like I say, you've either got to have momentum or you've got to knock out momentum. And that's really what's happening here, is we've got to knock out that momentum. They attacked so fast and so aggressive that what we have to do is to try and hold the line and put that pressure back. We've just got to try and prevent them from moving up here. There's a couple of things you've got to do. Is you've got to not rush too fast, you've got to mark your targets, and you've got to try and be aware of where everybody else is as a team. They've armed the target yet again, so they're moving very, very quickly in here, very aggressively. Now again, I can see and hear that there's people on the MCOM. There's the MBTs moving in right here, which I managed to take out, so that's good, he's down. But again, when you're defending, the key is really sort of trusting your team, and it doesn't always work out well. But there's sometimes, like I've said before, like I said a minute ago, I often, as a player, I try to do everything, and that's not always a good thing, and it ends up that I get very, very frustrated. I try to defend, attack, control, flank, I try to do everything and manage the whole situation of the game, but often it's just not realistic to do so. There has to come a time where you trust your teammates, and sometimes, unfortunately, that's not a good thing. It's very often, in fact, the case that will end up losing you the game. But you simply just can't do everything yourself. You can't be expected to defend the base, disarm it, and be dealing with the tanks and be dealing with the infantry all at the same time. You've got to try and watch what is happening. So again, when they armed it a minute ago, I could see, and probably while we were playing, we were communicating to each other, hey, there's people on it. That's always key. If you're in TeamSpeak, if you have a good squad to play with, you can obviously communicate that information. They can see things that you can't, and then you would work off of that information. And that's what we would have done in that situation. But again, we're trying to keep golden circle, my golden circle rule, far enough away that you can deal with stuff, close enough that you can get back to defend it. So I'm staying just in the vague area here, but I'm not sitting on the MCOM. Sitting on the MCOM to defend is probably one of the worst things that you can do, because as I've said many times before, if you sit on an MCOM to defend it, what will happen, the only thing that will happen, is that the enemy will move to that position, they will surround it, they will kill you all, and then they will take the base. So it's really critical, and again, just marking targets, moving and marking targets, it's very, very critical that you as a team and as a squad move around the MCOM base and defend it as necessary. Now right now I am sitting kind of on top of the MCOM, but you know, you will notice before that I was constantly moving and flanking. Now I'm on the staircase right here. That's a good position to be in because the staircases, as we know, are largely indestructible, so it's a great little tool for defending from. All the way through Bad Company, staircases were the saviour, because staircases you can fire a tank at and they won't go down. However, unfortunately, the building will. And I got clipped by falling rubble right there, which was a pain. Right, so again, we've managed to slow them right down, and we're coming suddenly back to the same situation that we had on the very, very first base. We've got them down to about 10 or 11 tickets, and this is the critical time. This is the danger time when potentially, like we're saying right now, they're pushing hard, they're being quite aggressive, they're trying to flank, they're trying to get through to that MCOM. And this is the real time, this is the test. This is the test like we had at the very beginning, where we have to try and watch the targets. We have to try and see, okay, where are they coming from? Because the last thing that you want is them to sort of sneak up on you and all of a sudden the base is overwhelmed. That tends to be what actually happens in rushes more. It's not so much that you're not dealing with them, it's more that they surprise you. They suddenly make a flank with 6-7 guys and all of a sudden you're overwhelmed. But we managed to hold that line right there, so it was a good result. So there we go, guys, that's the second Rush full gameplay, and we managed to win that round on the defence. Bit of a knife edge victory, but it was a really good gameplay, and again, I enjoyed it. Some questionable plays there, but overall some good gameplay from the whole team, and I found that was a really enjoyable round. Nothing better than a hard win. So thanks for watching today, guys. As always, rate the video, hope you enjoyed, leave some comments about it, and I'll see you next time for some more Battlefield 4.